a bit over 2 billion people will ascend, and about half the world's population will go off world, and the rest will perish. And so the amount of people that will perish in the earth changes will be very small.
Sorry, Lord, just to clarify, I think it was Georgy Stankov, who's a reputed ascended master, was the one that said that half the people didn't have souls. So go ahead, Lord.
Oh, okay. Well, you're saying that half of humanity does not ascend into the fifth dimension. Half and about 2 billion do, and the rest perish.
Yeah, and the ones that don't ascend, it's not their time yet. That's all. This isn't about right or wrong.
Thank you. That was what the question was. Do they continue in a physical existence?
Yeah, and even if their embodiments perish, their soul will gravitate towards one of the planets that are setting themselves up to facilitate this process next. Next time there's going to be about 2 or 3 that do it parallel instead of just this one that takes this process on. So things are getting really interesting because of, the forces of darkness and limitation will have 3 planets to play with, and we're going to have 3 planets to go and incarnate onto and be challenged with. So, and there'll be, the numbers will increase into the ones that leave the lower paradigms, which really annoy the crap out of the forces of darkness that like to feed off these beings. So, the drama is unfolding incredibly in these lower domains.
Yes, it certainly is. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Time Monk Radio Network, and we're speaking with George Kavassilas. Please visit his website at http://georgekavassilas.org and http://our-journey-home.com. Now we get into the ascension, and the next question is from Green Meadow.
Hi, George.
Hey, Jules. Sorry. Hi. Jules, do you mind if I interrupt there just for a moment?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, is it okay if I just explain to people that I'm coming over to Canada and the US, and they'll have an opportunity to come along and experience a live seminar?
Where will you be? Yeah, go for it.
Okay. We're heading over to Canada, and we're going to be in Vancouver Island in Vancouver. And then we're heading into the States. We're going to be at the Assetti Ranch, which is Trout Lake, Washington. And then we're heading over to Chicago and Boston. And all the details of that can be found on the websites.
What's the best website for this information, George?
Well, the best one for that information would have to be our-journey-home.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Green Meadow, you had a question for George.
Yes. This question comes from forum member Space. Could you describe ascension? What can we expect to experience when we ascend? What are the requirements to ascend higher to the next realm?
Yeah, okay. The ascension process is, it happens in stages. We're already in it. It'll depend where we look at it from. We descended into the Dark Ages. We bottomed out. And you can say that we started ascending collectively at the Renaissance. That's when ascension began. And so we have been ascending for a few hundred years. Now, we're at a very intense part of the ascension process. And the way it works is the more we increase our frequency, the more we start to merge with our higher self. We start expressing the higher aspect, like the 5D aspect, and above, more often in our day-to-day state of being, in our conscious awareness. And that means that the veil between our lower egos and our higher self is thinning. And it happens more and more and more. And it's going to get to the point where the veil is going to be so thin that eventually this aspect of self will end up just merging completely with the higher self. And in that moment, an opening will appear in this reality, and we'll just simply walk through into the fifth dimension. And the moment we do that, as we walk through it, we will morph and into our 5D embodiment. And that's how I understand the process. Those openings will start occurring towards about the end of this year, which I feel is around the time of what Cullinan says is the ending of the Mayan calendar. And so from about the 28th of October and onwards, I don't know the exact places because it's up to the individual soul journey how this occurs, and they will happen all the way through till the 21st of December 2012. People going through those openings finishes on the 21st of December 2012. So you've got roughly about a year or so. And so not everybody goes through at the same time. We're all on our individual journeys. So there'll be some, I might not go through till the end of 2012. I don't know yet when it'll be for me. I'd like to think I'm going through sometime in the next 12 months. So that's my feelings. And then what happens is a lot of us will be coming back out because we'll have work to do. And when we do come back out, we'll be in a much more empowered state. And we'll be able to biolocate around the planet and do what we need to do, not in an ego sense. We don't have to put on any shows for anybody or anything like that. We just go about our business. And so the platform of the fifth dimension is where we're actually going to ascend from, because, ascension is not going to the fifth dimension. We're returning to the fifth dimension, but the full-blown ascension is to become a universal creator of love and light. So the fifth dimension on the 21st of March 2013, Earth time out here on this level of reality, is when Mother Earth will hit center with her axis, and we'll be in the fifth dimension on her body still, and then all the dimensions implode. Ours do on an individual basis, the planetary ones do, and simultaneously everything implodes to an infinitesimal 0 point, and then a new expression of life is birthed. And it's fascinating because I've often asked Mother Earth, what colour are you going to be when you become a body of light? And I just keep getting magenta. I've been getting magenta for the last few years, and I'm still getting it today from her. And I've had a few emails from people saying, you know what, and people coming up to me in person in my travels of late and saying, I got picked up by my galactic family, and I was taken in the future, and I was shown Mother Earth, and she was a star, and she emitted magenta colour. And I think that's just amazing how people have been experiencing this throughout their lives, and they just thought, they didn't want to say anything because no one else was saying anything out there about this. But now that I'm voicing a lot of these concepts, you'd be surprised how many people are coming out of the woodwork, so to speak, and correlating their own personal experiences with the information I'm sharing.
Yeah, I can believe it. So some people describe ascension as leaving the body behind, which sounds a lot like death. So how is ascension different from death?
I'm so glad you brought that up, because there's different versions of ascensions that are on offer. Okay? Now, the one I'm talking about, the one I'm doing, as far as I'm concerned, is the organic path. And because when one is rebirthed or one is birthed, one's birthed through the womb of the mother. And those openings are represented by the Vesica Pisces, which is the real original meaning of the fish of Christianity. And I talk about this in my seminars, because the fish of Christianity is a female thing. It's not a male thing. I mean, you just complete the circles. It's two circles intersecting, right? So it's all to do with the Vesica Pisces and the womb of the mother. And there's images everywhere, all around, Christendom, of beings that are highly evolved stepping out of the womb, coming into this reality from Avalon or from Shambhala, or whatever label you want to give, or heaven, whatever label you want to give that realm. It has many names from many different cultures. So, I've been into that realm many times in this lifetime as well. I leave my body here, and I will manifest the body there and have meetings, and then come back into this reality. And other people have done this too. It's not just me. So, it's this thing about leaving the body behind is really important, because it's like these. I talked about these levels, paradigms of awareness. Well, you have these beings that have the ability to create synthetic light constructs, and even people are doing this on the planet. They create the Merkaba. They use a Merkaba template, and they create a light body using that Merkaba template. Then they step into that light body and they travel. But we've already got our own light body within us. So why are they doing that? These are the questions to ask. And so what happens is the moment, because remember I said I've done a lot in this universe, right? So I remember being a Dark Lord and manifesting synthetic light constructs. I remember doing that. So the moment you create a light body via the use of mathematical templates and constructs, you are creating a synthetic light body. And I don't care how anyone wants to dolly it up. and glorify it and dress it up and present it, you are creating a synthetic light body. So that's my warning to people, and take it from someone who knows about this stuff. Now, all right. So if people are doing this all over the planet now, imagine beings having done this a really long time ago, and they are able to expand these light bodies and make them really big to the point where they bring other beings inside of these light bodies, and they're all experiencing this light construct. And then they bring more in and more in, and the thing grows and grows and grows and grows and grows to the point where they create paradigms of awareness, paradigms of realities, and then they just continues to grow and grow and grow to the point where you now indoctrinate whole races of beings inside these light constructs, these synthetic light constructs. And so that's what's happened inside this lower domains of the universe. You have bubbles of awareness, paradigms of awareness that have been created. They are so massive over eons and epochs of evolution in this universe. And they are of a synthetic light construct. You have beings at the top of these things that originally created them. They play God, the creator of that paradigm. They have their own spiritual hierarchies, angelics, if you want to call them that, ascended masters, because they do. They have these beings. I mean, we're experiencing them here on this planet today. They're in contact with people from these paradigms today on this planet. They are also involved in a lot of the dogmatic religious structures throughout the ages on our planetary system here in our societies. So these things exist, and they have the ability to come. And I've heard this from people. I got emails from people. People have walked up to me. One lady walked up to me in Glastonbury and said, I had an experience. I have to tell you, I had an experience because what you say matches my experience, where this Jesus appeared in my room and said, come with me. He took her out of her body, and he took her to his divine light. She said he made me kneel in front of him, kiss his hand, kiss him above the knee, and then return me. And she said the whole thing was weird. The whole thing did not feel right, and it just didn't sit well with her. And as soon as she heard me explain these paradigms of synthetic light constructs, she felt so relieved, because she's like, hang on, this Jesus guy's going to be a good guy, but why did I not feel comfortable with what I just experienced with him? And this just explained everything for her. People got to be not so naive and gullible to think that these beings who are really good shapeshifters, they can present themselves whatever image they want. They've become very powerful over eons of evolution of time in our universe, and they can come here and they can take you out of body, and they can take you to their divine light, because you can call anything you like. And people, because they haven't experienced love and light on that level, because we've been deprived, they will think that they're with the Christ. Now, a religious person having that experience would have just bawled their eyes out, fallen to their knees, and thought they were with Jesus.
Wow.
And that's coming. They're coming to harvest the human herd, and they're going to do it on many levels. Not only people walking into ships, but you're going to have, I say because I get a hard time from religious zealots. I do. Cynthia and I were talking about that last night, because I've had some really awful emails